Good morning. Okay, got up this morning and my camera that wasn't working, 72 hours ago it cut out? Well, now it's working again, all by itself. But I don't know, could be a moisture thing. It could be moisture and have something to do with temperature. It's obviously got something to do with something because I'm not turning it on or off. And anyway, our sun just came up. Just must have just come up a few minutes ago. Looks kind of nice. It's much the same as yesterday's, only it's coming up a lot more to the left each day, quite noticeably. Anyway, enough about the sun and the weather and I didn't talk about the rabbits. Okay, I did come back to the model table yesterday. I did a little bit of painting by hand. And I used a paint here that I haven't used since way back in the 80s when I did the Titanic and Lusitania that are downstairs in my workshop. Some of you have seen it. Okay, let's just sort of roll back or page back or scroll back or whatever you want to call it to how we got to this point. Okay, I haven't done hardly anything. In fact, I haven't really done anything at all since this morning when we pressed the stop button at the end of step 1144, or rather episode 1144. And I did a few minutes ago trim these just a little bit, take a little bit of the flashing off the edges so that they would fit down better inside the gunnels of the hull of these tiny little lifeboats, which at arm's length people are hardly even going to see. But here's my plan. I'm going to put the macro lens on and explain. Okay, you can see now here when this part is put on top of the hull, you can see down to the bottom of the hull, and you will notice that there are what would be like planking or something to give you the illusion of planking. Now I'm thinking that maybe what I'm going to do is I'm not going to paint that with paint. I'm going to paint this with panel line color. I'm just going to try it. I'll try it on this one here. Okay, and maybe I'll use the brown panel line color and put it on fairly thick and let it dry. And then this part here, it could be done maybe in something like the hull red. And then the hull itself on the outside, some kind of gray, I guess. I mean, we want to have it halfway believable. We don't want it to look like some sort of something you'd see in a circus clown or something like that. I'm starting to think out loud here. Anyway, that's the plan for right now, but I'm going to do it all by hand. Now, I do realize that if I was to spray the hull, it would do a better job, but I think being as if this is going to be so terribly small, such a small little part in comparison to the turret that it's going to be sitting on. At least that's the plan right now. So let's just try that. Let's just see what would the panel line accent color look like if it was put on there. I think it probably accent these little ribs or ridges. Anyway, enough talk, let's do it. Okay, I've mounted it on the rotator here so it'll always stay in the field of view more or less. It just barely fits. At least the area in question is in the field of view. Now what I've got here is the panel line color dark brown, and we're just going to paint this in. I'm going to try not to get it. I'm going to try not to get it. Whoops. I just did what I said I wasn't going to do. I just want to sort of... Okay, now we'll do the other one. Now I think once that dries, it's gonna show up a lot better than if I was to just paint it. I'm pretty sure it will. Probably have to let it dry overnight. Okay, so I was wondering here a moment ago, how do I hold these things and so I can paint them, and I'm thinking that maybe the self-locking tweezers here might work out good for this. Just grab it by one of the thwarts, I think that's what you call them, and hold it like this, and get it near the edge now, and then where the tweezer is afterwards, just sort of touch that up after this piece is mounted in the hull. At least that's the plan for right now. Yeah, I'll just get the other one. And I'm thinking of using this. Now, I haven't used this paint since way back in the 80s. I can't even remember what it was that I painted this color. I guess if I went downstairs in the workshop and looked at the Titanic and Lusitania, I would probably find this color somewhere on it. But I can't remember what it was. I don't think it was the deck. It's too well, maybe that's the color I did paint the deck. Anyway, I was thinking when I saw it in my paint box that it probably would look good on here. It would look like some sort of natural wood that was varnished, you know. At least that's my thinking. Now, you could hardly believe how thick the sludge was on the bottom of this little tin after so many years. Now I don't need to worry about getting it underneath. I only have to do the top here where it's going to be seen. And right here is where I'm going to have to touch up. This stuff takes quite a while to dry. I think that's going to look good. I'm curious now, what did I use this on before? Probably putting it on too thick, but I don't want to have to do 2 coats. Okay, I can see in order to do a really good job on this, I should really be picking it up and turning it this way and that way so that I can see everything. I just wanted to do this one on camera. Okay, I think I'm going to do the other one. I'm going to do the other one off camera. Be a little easier. Now maybe I'm rushing the reveal just a little bit here, but this is probably 90% dry. At least it's probably done as much shrinking as it's going to do. I'm not going to give it a second coat. Okay, now what color am I going to paint the outside of the hull on those lifeboats? Now, when I sat down here this evening, I was planning on mentioning to you that I spent a good part of the afternoon doing a little bit of canning that I'd talked about doing earlier. And what I did was I made 8 liters or 8 U.S. quarts of soup. I made 4 vegetable soup with extra meat and 4 bean and rice soup with extra meat. And by extra meat, I mean there's probably, I'm guessing, half a pound altogether of chicken and ground beef and pork. Anyway, what I'm thinking of right now is, you notice these will not sit level. Now I know they can be glued that way, and I just sort of perused through the manual a little bit to see if there's any kind of brackets or anything that we were supposed to, to mount on this thing. The only other thing I can think of is maybe they're supposed to lean up against the catapult somehow. That would work too. But what I was thinking of is, how am I going to be able to easily hold these things? If I stick something on the inside, it's going to maybe mark it, unless I was just, I don't know where I could stick something on the inside here that isn't going to show, because these are fairly open. Now what I could do, I guess, is glue something on the bottom, just right on the keel, really narrow, and then break it off afterwards, because the keel is going to be down against the, oh my goodness, I got paint on myself. Yeah, and it's enamel paint. It's going to be there forever. Anyway. And when I was doing this, I was thinking about the comment that UK Jason had made about I could use enamels to paint the Rodney. I think he made that comment about half a year ago already. Maybe I'll do the Iowa completely by brush. We'll see. I usually don't do what I say I'm going to do, though, do I? Anyway, I'll think of something here. Now, I was noticing that the rudders on these things are quite a bit too heavy for scale, but they're strong enough. In other words, it's a good thing that they're a little bit on the hefty side, because I think I can probably just very carefully pick it up and then very carefully, paint the hull, as long as I don't push too far, too hard, when I'm going this way and put excess force on the rudder. I think I can just hold them by the rudder, and then later, after the hull dries, I can paint the rudder. I was planning on painting it a different color anyway, so yeah, I think this is going to work. As long as I'm very careful. I'll probably be best to do it off camera. That way I can be a little bit more careful. I'm noticing that the panel line accent color is drying quite nicely, even up in the bow and the stern, where it had, you might say, pooled. It's pretty much evaporated. So I don't think I need to do a second coat. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Now, it seems to me we had decided we were going to do most of the superstructure and the upper part of the hull with the 66. And so I was thinking possibly do the lifeboats with the 77 so that they'll contrast, but maybe that's just too much of a contrast. I'm pretty sure it was the 66 we concluded was going to be the best, wasn't it? Yeah, originally we were gonna use this, or was it, or did we decide we were going to go with the 77, and the 66 was going to be highlighting? You know, I can't remember anymore. Let's check the Carlos drawings and see what color did he draw the lifeboats in. Well, if you look at his drawings, those boats, they look a lot more like the 19 than the 66. But looking at the 66 now on this piece of plastic, I think this is what we had concluded we were going to use. So maybe we could, if we're going to be using this for the turrets, then maybe painting these little boats, the 19, is the way to go. But that's going to have to go tomorrow because I'm starting to get really tired. So, all being well, we'll be seeing you in the morning. Okay, I've just shaken this up. This is not thinned. And this paint is almost the same color, gotta get it out of the way here, as the plastic. Now, if you will recall, I had said that I was going to be painting the rudder a different color, so I'm not too concerned about the fact that I'm not getting any paint on the rudder. I'll probably paint it, I don't know, maybe black, or maybe one of the darker grays. Now the bottom of the boat doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be sitting on the top of the turret, and we're not going to see it anyway. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and do the other one much the same way. All right. Now, after I started painting, I realized that I was going to use the 19 on these little boats because I wanted it to contrast against the turret, which is going to be the 66. And I went and I painted them the 66. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for them to dry, and I'm going to repaint them. It bothers me when I do stuff like that. Another thing that bothers me is the fact that about half an hour ago, I guess, I checked to see if yesterday's episode had kicked into 4K yet. And I know I had said or thought I'm not going to be always talking about that. But it bothers me that it's not in 4K yet. And I uploaded it, well, going on 24 hours ago. I think possibly these really long, drawn-out episodes, YouTube just, I don't know, doesn't seem to like them. Anyway, I'm going to cut today's episode short and get it uploaded, and we'll see what happens today. I imagine that eventually yesterday's episode will kick into 4K. I know that big long one that we had that was almost 27 minutes long or so, it eventually went 4K. Now I'm not going to use I'm not going to say 4K anymore in this episode. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. All being well. We'll be seeing you tomorrow.